Hey folks, Brio Farms, Josh Ryan, Eaton County, Michigan. January 27th. It's warmed up just a little bit here in Michigan, so we're taking a little look at the planter, getting ready for some corn planting in the spring. I got our closing disc here. Most of the people that buy our kits, I tell them, if we can get this thing down to depth, the row unit down to depth, everything else on my planter I leave stock. These start out at 8 inches, and if I can hold that still, you can see we're down around 7.5, so we've lost a good 1/4 inch all the way around. I probably recommend changing it by this point. So for 6 rows of the planter, we're going to leave the same, but for these 2 center rows, it's a little experiment here. We picked up the notched wheel from Shoup's. It's a little bit of an experiment. You can see it's a little wider. Like I said, we've never had really too much trouble as long as the planting conditions are good, but if you push it a little bit, you get in tacky ground. Just so, hoping this maybe helps. It closes the trench when you're planting. It's 2 to 3 days later as it dries up, and all of a sudden that trench opens up. I've got around it by planting a little deeper. We plant our corn about 2.25 to 2.5 deep. And that just kind of lets the soil, gravity works in your advantage, when you're that deep. It just doesn't seem to open up that wide, or the weight of the ground above it just kind of holds it deep. But soybeans we plant a little shallower, so if you go through a spot maybe just a little tacky, just looking for something a little extra insurance that we're gonna close that furrow up. So like I said, we're just running this as a quick little experiment this year, see how they do, if we like how it's looking, or maybe we'll change the rest of the disc out, maybe pull the planter out into the field before we actually start planting and run a little bit, see what the effects are. So hope you guys had a great harvest. We had a really good bean harvest there last fall, so we didn't have any corn. Happy about that, but this year we're back to the corn, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, Josh Ryan, Brio Farms, Eaton County, Michigan, and stay tuned. We'll try to keep you updated as to how this is going and what the results of our testing are. So you'll be a little bit further down the road than we are. Have a good one. Alright folks, just a little update. So what is going to come on your planter for the left-hand drive, just like everything else on the left-hand side of your planter, you're going to have a left-hand thread bolt. But what comes in your kit from Shoup's, you get a bag of hardware with each kit per row. I'm noticing both bolts that come, you can clearly see both of these are right-handed thread. So unless the bolt is not long enough, I think we are going to reuse, looks like it's in good shape, not rusted up. As long as it's long enough, I think we're going to try to reuse our left-handed hardware. The only reason I say it might not be long enough is it also comes with the spacer you got to put on the back side. So these discs, you guys that's been around here, you can see, right, these discs always run concave to the outside, and the new disc will go on there, and you can see the bearings on the outside, and that's going to be concave to the inside. Just another thing I think that helps it be a little bit more aggressive and loosen up a little bit more dirt for the rear packer wheel to push down in place and get rid of any air pockets around your seat, I think is the hope there. So anyway, just a little update that I'm gonna see if we can use the standard left-handed thread bolt if it's long enough, so that we don't got to worry about these things on the left-hand side loosening up and losing them while we're going across the field. So again, only trying something new because we're getting really close to needing to replace the rest of the disc anyway. And if these are going to do a little bit better job, might as well go to these. But other than that, I am definitely not promoting the fact that you need aftermarket closing wheels in order to do no-till. with these planters, as long as you can get the row unit to depth. So that's still my stance, but if we can do a little bit better, as long as we got to replace them out anyway, that's what we're going to do. So looking at this, you put your spacer on there. This is our left-handed thread bolt. You can see, just get the end of the bolt even with the end of the nut, about like you would want it optimally. And you can see there's only just a little bit more than a 16th, maybe as much of as an 1/8 gap in there, which the bracket this hangs from is, I don't know, looks to be a good 3/16, maybe 1/4 inch thick. So at the end of the day, we are going to go with the Shoup supplied right hand thread hardware, and I'd assume if they've been having problems with it, they'd have to have switched out. So anyway, further update that sticking with the stock left-handed thread ain't long enough, so you'd either have to get new left-handed thread that's longer or go with the Shoup supplied stuff. Alright guys, had a little issue getting the nuts tight on this fella. The window, see if I can get this right, this window here, needs some light. Hey, alright guys, I'll move over to where I'm actually working here in a second, but I had a good angle here. So having a little issue tightening up the disc. The hardware is slipping inside this window. When I took the old out, corners of the nuts seem to get up against the outside of this housing here in this window, but tightening down the new hardware, I don't know if it's just a little, it shouldn't be narrower, still 15/16 wrench, but anyway, it's just slipping around in that housing. So just as a little tip, I grabbed a big flat-headed screwdriver, as you can see here, and just I had to shove that inside next to the nut in order to keep that from spinning, because you can't get a wrench up in there, or at least I wasn't talented enough to. So just a little tip for anybody going after this, that's a way you can get it tightened up. And then I still got the tools in there, but as you can see, just a little bit of the difference. That is tightened down there. How that's sitting now, I can pull those off as a distraction, but you can kind of see stock versus the notch disc from Shoup's. So just a little comparison. So I'll be changing out the other side as well, for those that think I was just doing one side. That's not the case, just hadn't got there yet. And by stopping midstream, I'll just see a little bit of the difference. So yeah, that spacer is back in there. Without the spacer, the disc is so close to the housing that it will not spin. So you got to have the spacer in there in order to let the bearing do its job. I have read there's some people out there that think these bearings hold up better without the dust caps on it. Must be they think maybe if the moisture gets in there, then it holds it in there or something. But I think I'm going to put the dust caps on, and we'll go from there. So anyway, just another little update that I ran into. Not a huge deal, but did get a little frustrating there for a second. Motion's running on high of, why can't I tighten this down? But all tight now. Alright folks, one last view. Here you are, looking through the window right in front of the packer wheel here. You see the two stock wheels. Again, need to be changed out regardless. Most likely only around 7.5. So lost a 1/4 inch all the way around. And going to this row being complete, you can see the disc quite a bit closer together. Overall, obviously now we're concave in. should be a lot more aggressive. I am hoping this does not lead to plugging issues. Again, we're no-tillers, and I think as long as you're running in conditions you should be running in, hopefully we're okay. Corn stalks, will it catch corn stalks or not, to be determined, although we won't see any corn stalks this spring. This will be cover crop mix, wheat stubble. One thing I did do, which I'm sure most people are leaning towards, especially if you're planting green or into a mix of any kind, you see I put it on in such a way, I would think this would be their intended direction anyway, but I'm just pointing out to you it is not a straight tooth. It's got just a little bit of curvature towards it, so I made sure to have that going towards the back. So as we get to the bottom, when that tooth comes out of the ground, hopefully it is more likely to release any residue that it may have. If I don't like how these work, maybe I'll just have to design my own. So I don't think it'd be too hard. But anyway, well, just an overall summary of putting this on. I encourage everybody, just play around with, you don't got to go a whole hog across the planter with something new. Obviously, if there's millions of them out there, and something works, you used it before, then go ahead and put it on. But or just try it with one row. If it's something used in the past, if you don't have it on there, you might find out you didn't really have to spend the money. I find a lot of people make assumptions and spend a bunch of money up front thinking they gotta have this, they gotta have that, and I think there's some money to be saved in farming perhaps. Not just doing some experimentation. Do one row, see how it works out. When it comes to planting, it really comes down to emergence. I think it's singles and doubles as far as your monitoring you want, but I don't know, with the papers and stuff I read, it just seems to be that even emergence coming out of the ground at a somewhat similar time window just has more of effect on final yield than your singulation and your doubles. Obviously you don't want to be wasting seed. So anyway, that's the summary of the installation of the Shoup notch closing wheels. This is on an Case International 900 planter. Same unit, right? That has our down pressure kit on it. So more experimentation. Again, we got it on one row. Probably going to put it on this other side too as well. I bought 2 rows worth on this 8 row, so a quarter of the planter we're going to convert over to this and see how it works out, and then maybe we'll go with the rest of the planter. So Josh Ryan, Bannabrio Farms, Eaton County, Michigan. You folks have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you later.